do me a favor. Tell me, identify yourself for other Embroid Me's out there.
Hi, my name's Larry Peterson. I run Embroid Me Dallas Metro down in Dallas, Texas.
How long have you been running it for?
I've had my store open for almost 7 years now.
Larry, when we first talked was quite some years ago, but you didn't go with my laser at the time. You went with a plotter laser of some kind, correct?
Well, I didn't really know that your laser was available when my plotter laser was originally purchased. It took me some time to realize that the plotter laser was not going to do the garment work that I truly had envisioned for adding to my store repertoire.
What was your experience for the training on the plotter laser?
The training for the plotter laser was to make sure that the plotter laser functioned properly, functioned safely, and then we were pretty much on our own to figure out how we could make it work in our business. It's not
what about like total top to bottom, how to figure it out, like other than just the function?
Well, the applicability to the garment business is what we really did not receive any training on at all. That type of laser is really more of an industrial laser for non-garment industries. So we knew as much about how to laser garment applications as they did.
So now I sent down my drill sergeant to train you. I don't know if you've had that experience with Alex, the drill sergeant.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Alex has some very specific industry knowledge that's been very helpful, basically jump-starting us to the point of giving us some very specific garment-related ideas to get us going quickly, while we still have a large learning curve to make full use of the capabilities of the machine and of the software. We have enough to go on basically out of the box to build on without wasting just a whole lot of time.
So you don't have to go reinvent the wheel. Somebody said, here, to do this. So I assume you've done etching, you've done applique or reverse applique so far.
We have done extensive applique at this point. We've just did one reverse applique yesterday. We did much more etching yesterday. We still have some more etching to do this evening, hopefully before it gets too dark. And we go out to dinner, and then tomorrow we just kind of put things together, and hopefully we get our perma press up and running to where we don't have any injuries with all the high volume machinery we're going to be running through.
Well, that's nice. But you're not implying that it's unsafe. You're just implying that
there's just going to be a lot of repetitive motions hooping all these big garments.
Yeah, how are you doing it without it?
Well, we haven't. When we've done other things, we do it manually, and we have. I mean, to be honest, when we're doing a full back with embroidery, that takes a lot longer. We've got one of our 8-inch front appliques that we just finished a set of 8 on. That start to finish took much less time than if we were going to do embroidery. So I anticipate, as you pointed out during the sales process, that we're really going to be running a lot more Sunday night.
You were just saying about the adding the higher volume of garments too, right? Your business reflects like every other embroidery business. Would you say you've done a tremendous amount of left chest decoration? Is that like the majority of your business, or how would you state your business is? What is it fundamentally?
Fundamentally, our business is a good deal of left chest. We've really tried to differentiate ourselves and kind of gone away from pure left chest into a lot of full chest, full backs, a lot of specialty items that historically have brought a lot higher stitch counts. And subsequently tie up the machine for a really long time. And I think that go ahead.
Do you get, sorry, because of the phone, but do you get the value with high stitch count that you deserve? Because I know it takes more time, more effort, and all that.
I believe we do price for that value, but I believe we're leaving money on the table when if we can free up the machines sooner. while getting virtually the same amount of money for the same amount of time.
What you mean by adding the applique, the reverse applique, and the etching, right?
Absolutely. I think the etching is going to be a big deal if we can sell the concept and get good enough at it, which I think we can. I think that the etching is going to be a very nice add-on, but I think that the real money is going to come to us through the applique and reverse applique, because that's building on what people have already expressed desire for. They just haven't been able to afford it with their own designs. They're more than willing to spend the money on those types of decorations with other people's designs, but now they have a chance to do the same thing for virtually the same money with their own designs, with their own high school name, their own college sorority, fraternity, with the same technique that they've been buying out of the big box stores now for several years.
So what you're saying is you can do all the things that they see at American Eagle, Hollister, The Gap, all the high-end distressed stuff that's really fashionable. With this technology, for the first time, you do what the hand can't do, and you can offer 12, 24, 36, 48 pieces, and your turnover is like very, very quick relative, right?
Absolutely. We can get this. We'll be able to get this done within our normal turnaround times of 5 to 7 business days, and we're going to be doing that with custom decorations as opposed to, as you pointed out, canned decorations from big boxes.
Larry, I just want to go back. You mentioned something about laser etching, that you want to sell the concept. I have to add on to what Alex is teaching you. Laser etching is low-hanging fruit for you. I need to make sure that on your better customers, the ones that represent, a good 80% of your revenue, I really want to stress that you find out their shirt sizes of the key buyers or the key people that you work with, and get their logo full front, left sleeve, get their website on, have Alex go over all the areas you can etch, from the collar to the yoke to the placket to the seam, that you can put your name on the inside of the shirt with the laser etching, and make sure you make that investment, because instead of you trying to teach them a new concept, remember that they can't ask for something that they don't know doesn't exist. Does that make sense what I said? Absolutely.
We've actually, Alex is actually standing in front of a big box of samples that we've already purchased for exactly that effort.
Because what happens is, and this is the psychology that I want you to work on, you know how it's easier for me to let you buy something and then discover that later on when you're ready that I have a product that because some people want to buy a smaller laser, a plotter-wise, and then grow into ours. But I have to say you can't do the stuff we do. But now that you have the laser and it's so cheap and so fast to do it, instead of trying to sell everybody, when that person wears their ego, which is their logo on the product, they will get 4, 5, 6 comments. When you see embroidery, when you see screen printing, heat transfer, it's common. It's a commodity, so we really don't say, oh, that's nice, or you don't even think about it anymore. But when they see the etching tone on tone, they're going to have people make comments to them, and automatically you're going to start to get the orders from it without resistance, rather than them questioning it because they don't know it, because people don't like change as much. So make that a consistent program to get out. And the other day, it was just after your laser left, we did slate drink coasters. Very rough-looking piece of slate with 4 rubber bumpers underneath.
Yes.
And we did this very beautiful etching on it, and it's very subtle, but it's permanent. So you can do all kinds of gifts. When you were etching on the plotter, what's the speed comparison?
There's no comparison. I mean, it's like, you can't even draw a comparison between A and B because they're just so very different. For the etching concept, anytime we played with etching on the plotter laser, that was easily going to be an 8 to 10 minute run to get something of any magnitude out of it. Whereas that's something that's a 20-second to 30-second run on the NGL.
What about registration? What about setup?
Well, for the etching, Well, the etching is it's non-existent because you can place it on there using the outline, and there's really not an issue. You're seeing exactly where it's going to go, and then you just let the machine do its job. Then the outline is, once again, is so fast because of the type of laser that it is. It becomes a non-issue.
You guys at Embroid Me are a big family, and if you had somebody investigating and they had the option to buy a laser, and they said, listen, Larry, I can buy a laser for a half, a third, a quarter of the price of the NGL. Should I do that first and then grow into it? Is that, what's your advice? What's your comments on that statement or that thought pattern?
Well, I would try to help them understand exactly what they're buying and what they're going to be using it for. I mean, I can't tell people what business they're truly going to be in or what business they want to be in, but if they're going to be in the garment business, then they need to buy a garment piece of equipment. It's pretty much that simple. And the plotter lasers, while they do fabulous work, very detailed work, they're not garment machines. And in the business that we're in, they cannot, no matter how much time it takes, they cannot do some of the things that the NGL can do that are directly applicable to profitability in my business. And that's
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and that's just what, and that's, I'm far be it for me to tell somebody else what business they're in or how they're going to grow their business. I can just tell them what my experiences have been over 7 years, what has worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, and what I believe is going to be happening here in the very short term in my business as a result of adding some garment specific equipment.
Okay, cool. What are the things you faced? Or what were the toughest things you faced as a decorator? When you start your business, fundamentally as a decorator, right? I know it's evolved as you grow, but what are the toughest things you face, and how does this resolve some of those challenges?
Well, different people have different issues they have to overcome. In my situation here, I'm in a large metropolitan area where the biggest difficulty for me was differentiating my business from everybody else that views themselves as a competitor. And we clearly cannot compete on price, and we don't try to. We have to compete on service, quality, and in this case, by adding a piece of equipment that other people are not willing to invest into, we can differentiate it with a product. And when you're trying to compete with everybody else that buys an embroidery machine that puts it in their back bedroom, you can't compete with that on price or on product. But you sure can compete on service, quality, and in this case, I can offer a product that they're not willing to try to offer.
Very cool. Are you going to the big convention in Vegas for sure?
Yes, we have tickets. We were just going over that this afternoon to see what time to get on an airplane next Sunday.
Can you make sure that you're there for a few days?
We should be there all 3 days, yes.
Can you wear a different laser garment every day?
I'm going to do my very best to do that.
We'll let you wear the same garment 3 days in a row. We just might not have you in the booth day 2 and 3.
I understand that. That's the price we have to pay sometimes. But our biggest challenge really going forward is getting my my production staff, not the people that are actually operating the machinery, but getting the art people fully up to speed and being as creative as they can possibly be, using some technology and using some tools here that nobody's really had any opportunity to use before. And that creativity is...
Alex,
go ahead.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just the phone cuts out sometimes. Finish up.
No, it's just that's probably our biggest challenge going forward, is this tapping into people's creativity and coming up with the type of fashion-forward designs that create that that energy and that excitement when people see a new and different decoration for the first time.
Did Alex drive home the fundamentals? Like, if he stopped talking instantaneously and you never saw him again, do you feel comfortable enough at this point to be able to go to a higher level? Do you have enough information, enough know-how from him right now?
on the use of the laser and the use of the basic software, I believe we do. I think that's because we spent a lot more time understanding the process of how we get from A to B rather than just running back and forth really fast between A and B. If we understand how that process is, we can feel pretty confident that we can deal with the challenges that are going to come up that are unique to us. I think we have the toolkit now necessary to overcome those challenges as regards to using the laser.
How does that training compare to other things you purchased? I know that if you buy a franchise, you probably have some sort of university, but after that, you buy stuff. How does this boot camp? Alex is not. He's not a little sweet mouse who's like with lots of grace and finesse, like a figure skater. He's a little bit like a boot camp, okay? And your personality on the phone made me choose to send him to you because we were also under time constraint, and I also know that he's been to so many places, he just tells it like it is. He's not shy to pussyfoot, right?
Right.
So I would strongly stress that the people doing the art go and see the steps that produce it, and I would strongly make some mistakes, build in some errors so that those people can see what can go wrong so that the light bulb goes off. Because if you don't make some mistakes on purpose, they're going to happen on an important order. When we were talking, when you were buying the laser, remember you had a large job, it was for some barbecue bids or something like that for a chain.
Right.
And it was like a heck of a job because you ended up working all weekend, and then Murphy's Law played into it. Something else came up where it became more difficult. So if you build in the mistake in their training and you invest in the training before you throw them in the fire, then they will have all these moments where these light bulbs go off, and they will totally get it. And then try and make something cool that they can take home and wear that day and show their spouse, their family, their kid, or whatever, so that they feel completely different and they don't shut up about it. And that is the fastest way to get people on board, because when they can understand that what they see in a retail store, that they can translate that for ABC High School and ABC Dance and ABC Karate and ABC Construction, then it's like a different ballgame for them, because now the challenge is how can we make it as cool as possible with as low stitch count as possible and the easiest way to produce it possible. That's the game you have to play with them, and people typically rise to that challenge.
Absolutely. We've actually already sent 2 of my 4 employees home with decorated items for themselves and their family members. So we'll be
ahead of it.
Yeah, they'll be the rest of them will get something early next week that they contribute to the production of.
So now you have, potentially or for sure, increased sales, increased profit margin. Is that a detriment as a franchise owner that you earn more money?
You'd have to explain to me that concept, because I can't draw that correlation between more money being bad.
Okay, I just want because sometimes I think people say, well, I have to pay more to my franchisor group or whatever. But if you earn more and your profit margin's higher, it's not an issue, right? Because I think some people are tight on money, and I've heard people, not particularly Embroid Me, but how franchise people, not everybody's like a Larry at Dallas Metro, but some of them have a harder time than others, and that's a burden on them. Do you think that, and I'm trying to get you to say it,
I understand.
People on the fence.
I understand that the issue is going to be making more money is never bad, and if you have more money, you can pay more money to the people that have helped you get to the point that you're at. If somebody's struggling with their franchise fees, they really need to look at if the franchise is really adding value, and if they don't think it is, they need to look at how much they're participating in the franchise family, as it were. I know I get a great deal out of our franchise arrangement with a lot of the other stores that are willing to give. I like to think that I'm willing to give it into the franchise family as well. If somebody's like the redheaded stepchild of the franchise family, then they're probably unhappy about paying for those franchise fees. If they're a member of the family and they participate and they make use of all the resources that the franchise does have available, whether formally through the franchisor or unofficially through the other franchisees that are willing to share experiences and help, then they're going to be happy campers.
Okay, so I got another question for you. There's going to be a ton of people at the show. There's going to be, some people buy something in 2 days. Some people buy it in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, okay? What about people who are really interested and can't get it right away or whatever? Are you willing and can you offer contract work? Do you want to look at that for some of the family members?
I am absolutely willing to offer that to anybody that wants it, whether they're in the family or not. I'm going to prefer not to do it for direct competitors that are living close to me, but in terms of if they're in the Embroid Me family, as with everything else, I've been willing to help out and help them bridge the gap to where they finally make the right decision and grow their business.
Okay. Do me one favor, is if you have the ability, make a cool sign so that the family members know they can contact you, and make sure that you bring, half a box of business cards so that at the show, if somebody wants something quickly and immediately and they have a need, that I don't have to struggle around to get them the contact info, that they can see you or meet you.
Not a problem.
So how much did I pay you to do this video, by the way?
How much did you pay me? Unfortunately, that check went the other direction just so I could get my face on the camera. So.
Okay, so I appreciate you, sharing this with us. We'll do a couple follow-ups, and then my goal is at the show in Vegas that we turbo boost the start for you, okay? Because I know all my experiences, people need stuff done, especially etching. So we're going to be making as many samples as possible. You're free to take over the laser if you want, and let's etch stuff with your name on it specifically, and we'll give it out to every single person who can get their hands on. We'll go from there, all right?
That'll be great. I'll look forward to learning from you while we're up there for 3 days.
I look forward to meeting you face to face.
That'll be great.
All the best. Thanks so much, Larry.
Thank you, Rob.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.